Hello, good day everyone. I am Arabella Sia Jong and I am here to discuss to you about the curriculum evaluation. So what is curriculum evaluation? So curriculum evaluation and definition is a new idea for many teachers, not knowing that every day the teacher is involved in several components of evaluation. There are two ways of looking at curriculum evaluation. First is curriculum program evaluation, which refers to the overall aspects of curriculum as a subject, degree program, curriculum reform program, and the like. Second is components of a curricular program, which will cover separate evaluations for a curriculum component such as first, achieve learning outcomes, second, teaching learning process, third, instructional materials or IMs. Fourth is the assessment of learning outcomes. So, curriculum evaluation as a process tool. Evaluation is both process and tool. And as a process, it follows a procedure based on models and frameworks. And as a tool, it will help teachers and program implementers to judge the worth and the merit of the program and innovation or curricular change. So the following are the curricula and how they define evaluation.
So, according to Orsten and Hankins, curriculum evaluation is a process to gather data and to decide whether to accept, change, eliminate the whole curriculum of a textbook. And for McNeil J., it is to identify the weaknesses and strengths, problems encountered in the implementation, and to improve the curriculum development process. And lastly, according to Olivia P., it is a process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information for judging alternatives for purpose of modifying or eliminating the curriculum. So let's move on to the reasons of curriculum evaluation. So in the first column, it identifies the strengths and weaknesses which will be the basis of intended plan, design, or implementation. So it belongs to needs assessment. In the second column, so at the middle of the curriculum development, it can tell if the designed or implemented curriculum can produce or is producing the desired results. So it belongs to monitoring. In the third column, it will guide whether the results have equaled or exceeded the standards, and it is labeled as success. So it belongs to terminal assessment. So for the last reason, it provides information necessary for teachers, school managers, curriculum specialists for policy recommendations that will enhance achieved learning outcomes. It belongs to basis for decision making.
Good afternoon, Mom. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, I am going to discuss my assigned topic about the evaluation models. So, by the way, what is curriculum evaluation? So, curriculum evaluation is the process of assessing the effectiveness and value of an educational curriculum. It involves gathering and analyzing data on the curriculum's objectives, content, and instructional methods to determine whether it is achieving its intended outcomes. The primary goal of curriculum evaluation is to ensure that the curriculum is meeting the needs of the students and helping them to achieve their educational goals. The Bradley Effectiveness Model. In 1985, L.H. Bradley wrote a handbook on curriculum leadership and development. This book provides indicators that can help measure the effectiveness of a developed or written curriculum. For purposes of the classroom teachers, some of the statements were simplified. So, the Bradley Effectiveness Model provides a structured approach to curriculum evaluation that emphasizes the importance of aligning curriculum objectives with students' needs and measuring the outcomes of the curriculum to determine its effectiveness. It also provides a useful framework for evaluating the effectiveness of a curriculum and identifying areas for improvement. By assessing the relevance, validity, utility, feasibility, and adaptability of a curriculum, educators can ensure that it meets the needs of the students and provides them with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed. Bradley Effectiveness Model for Curriculum Development Indicators in 1985. First is vertical curriculum continuity. Descriptive question. Does the curriculum reflect the format? Example, K-12, OBE, inquiry, and etc. that enables teachers to quickly access what is being taught in the grade year levels below or above the current level. Example, if you are looking at Science 5, below means Science 4 and above means Science 6. If I will answer this question, my answer is yes, because vertical curriculum continuity refers to the alignment and coherence of a curriculum across different grade levels or educational stages. It ensures that students have a clear and consistent progression of learning as they move through different levels of education. Vertical curriculum continuity is essential for ensuring that students receive a high-quality education that prepares them for future learning and success. By ensuring that curriculum is aligned and coherent across different grade levels, educators can help students to build strong foundations of knowledge and skills and achieve their full potential. Horizontal curriculum continuity. Does the curriculum provide content and objectives that are common to all classes of the same grade level? Example, All English 101 for all first-year college students. So my answer for this is yes, because horizontal curriculum continuity refers to the coherence and alignment of the curriculum across different grade levels or subject areas. It ensures that knowledge and skills taught in one grade level or subject area are connected to and build upon knowledge and skills taught in previous grade levels or subject areas. Instruction based on curriculum are lesson plans, syllabi, course design derived from the curriculum and strategies. Are materials used correlated with the content, objectives, and activities? My answer for this is yes, because instruction based on curriculum refers to the teaching and learning activities that are designed to achieve the goals and objectives of a specific curriculum. In other words, it is the process of implementing the curriculum in the classroom through various instructional methods and strategies. Broad involvement. Is there evidence of involvement of the different curriculum stakeholders in the planning, designing, and implementation and review of the curriculum? My answer for this is yes, because broad involvement refers to the practice of involving a wide range of stakeholders in decision-making, processes, and activities. In education, this typically involves engaging not only educators and administrators but also parents, students, community members, and other relevant parties in the development, implementation, and evaluation of educational programs and policies. Long-range planning. Is review cycle followed within the period of planning and implementation of the curriculum? My answer for this is yes, because long-range planning is a process of setting strategic goals and objectives for an organization over a significant period. Typically 3 to 10 years, it involves a comprehensive and systematic approach to analyze the current situation, forecast future trends, and develop a plan to achieve the desired outcomes. Positive human relations. So, did the initial thoughts about the curriculum come from teachers, principals, curriculum leaders, and other stakeholders? My answer for this is yes, because positive human relations, it is important aspect of curriculum evaluation as they can help to create a supportive and collaborative learning environment that enhances student engagement and achievement. When conducting curriculum evaluation, it is important to establish positive relationships with all stakeholders involved, including teachers, students, parents, and administrators. Theory into practice curriculum. Is there clarity of vision, mission, graduation outcomes, program philosophy, learning outcomes in the curriculum? My answer for this is yes, because theory into practice curriculum is an approach to curriculum evaluation that focuses on the practical applications of educational theories and research to improve the effectiveness of a curriculum. It involves using theoretical frameworks and research-based evidence to guide the development and implementations of a curriculum, as well as the evaluation of its effectiveness. Plan change. Are there tangible evidence to show that the internal and external publics accept the developed program? My answer for this is yes, because plan change in curriculum evaluation refers to a deliberate and intentional effort to make changes to the curriculum based on the results of a systematic evaluation process. Plan change is an important aspect of curriculum evaluation because it allows educators to improve the curriculum by addressing areas of weakness and building on areas of strength. By answering yes to all the questions, it means that good curriculum as described by Bradley. If any of the indicators is answered with a no, action should be made to make it yes. Tyler Objective-Centered Model. Ralph Tyler in 1950 proposed a curriculum evaluation model which until now continues to influence many curriculum assessment processes. His monograph was entitled Basic Principles of Curriculum and Instruction. So Tyler Objective-Centered Model provides a systematic framework for curriculum evaluation by emphasizing the importance of clearly defined objectives, designing an appropriate instructional experiences, and using assessment data to inform curriculum improvements. It is widely used in educational settings to ensure that curriculum design and implementation are purposeful and effective in achieving desired learning outcomes. In using the Tyler's model, the following curriculum components and processes are identified in curriculum evaluation. First is objectives or intended learning outcomes. An evaluation process, predetermined intended learning outcomes or objectives. My answer for this is yes, because objectives or intended learning outcomes refer to the specific goals and expectations that educators or trainers set for their learners. These objectives serves as a roadmap for designing instruction, assessing progress, and evaluating the effectiveness of the learning process. The objectives should be clear, concise, measurable, and aligned with the overall learning goals. Second is situation or context. An evaluation process identifies the situation, context that gives opportunity to develop behavior or achieve objective. My answer for this is yes, because situation or context refers to the specific circumstances and conditions in which the curriculum is being implemented and assessed. Understanding the situation or context is crucial for evaluating the effectiveness and appropriateness of the curriculum and identifying areas for improvement. Third is evaluation instruments or tools. An evaluation process modify and construct evaluation instruments or tools, check its objectivity, reliability, and validity. So my answer for this is yes, because evaluation instruments or tools are used to assess and measure learners' progress, achievement, or performance in relation to the stated objectives or intended learning outcomes. These tools help educators gather data and evidence about learners' knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors, which can inform instructional decisions, provide feedback, and evaluate the effectiveness of the learning process. Fourth is utilization of tool. In evaluation process, utilize the tools to obtain results. Compare the results obtained from several instruments before and after to determine the change. My answer for this is yes, because utilization of tools is important. To note that the selection of tools should be based on the evaluation objectives, the nature of the curriculum, and the available resources. Utilizing a combination of tools can provide a comprehensive assessment of the curriculum, allowing for data triangulation and a more accurate evaluation. Fifth is analysis of results. Analyze the results obtained to determine strengths and weaknesses. Identify possible explanation about the reasons for the particular pattern. My answer for this is yes, because analysis of results should be objective and grounded in the data collected. It is essential to involve relevant stakeholders such as teachers, administrators, and curriculum developers in the analysis process to ensure a comprehensive understanding of the findings and to facilitate buy-in for any recommended changes. Sixth is utilization of results. Use the results to make the necessary modifications. My answer for this is yes, since utilization of results should be an ongoing process. Regularly revisit the evaluation findings, monitor the implementation of improvements, and conduct follow-up evaluations to assess the impact of changes made based on the initial evaluation. Continuous utilization of evaluation results ensures a dynamic and responsive approach to curriculum development and improvement. Using all the steps to evaluate the curriculum and obtaining all yes answer would mean the curriculum has passed the standards. Tyler's model of evaluation, the curriculum is relatively easy to understand, which many teachers can follow. Daniel Staffelbeam's Context, Input, Process, Product Model, or CIPP. The CIPP model of curriculum evaluation was a product of the Pi Delta Kappa Committee chaired by the Daniel Staffelbeam. The model emphasized that the result of evaluation should provide data for decision making, so the context, input, process, product or CIPP model is an evaluation framework developed by Daniel L. Staffelbeam. It is commonly used in the field of educational evaluation, but can also be applied to other areas such as program evaluation and organizational development. The CIPP model provides a systematic approach to evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency of a program or intervention. So there are 4 stages of program operation. First is context evaluation. This refers to the situation or environment in which the program operates. It involves understanding the needs, expectations, and the constraints of the stakeholders, as well as the broader social, cultural, and political factors that may influence the program. The evaluation in the context stage focuses on clarifying the goals and objectives of the program and ensuring that they align with the needs and expectations of the stakeholders. Second is input evaluation. The input stage involves examining the resources and support systems that are necessary for the program to function effectively. This includes assessing the staff, funding, materials, and other resources required to implement the program. The evaluation in the input stage focuses on determining whether the necessary resources are available and, if not, identifying the gaps and barriers that may hinder the program's success. Third is process evaluation. The process evaluation stage focuses on how the program is implemented and delivered. It involves evaluating the strategies, activities, interactions that occur during the program. The evaluation in the process stage examines the quality of program implementation, identifies any challenges or issues encountered, and assesses the fidelity to the intended program design. It involved collecting data through observations, interviews, or other methods to ensure the effectiveness of the program process. Fourth is product evaluation. The product stage assesses the outcomes and impacts of the program. It involves evaluating extent to which the program achieves its intended goals and objectives. The evaluation in the product stage examines the short-term and long-term outcomes of the program, as well as any unintended or anticipated effects. Data collection methods such as post-test surveys and statistical analysis may be used to ensure the program's effectiveness and impact. Overall, the CIPP model provides a comprehensive framework for evaluating programs by considering the context, input, process, and product. It emphasizes the importance of understanding the program's goals and objectives, assessing the available resources, evaluating the implementation processes, and measuring the program's outcomes and impacts. By following in model, evaluators can systematically gather evidence and make informed decisions about program improvement and effectiveness. Stake responsive model. Responsive model is oriented more directly to program activities than program intents. Evaluation focuses more on the activities rather than intent or purposes. So stake responsive model refers to an approach that involves actively engaging stakeholders in the evaluation process to gather their perspectives, feedback, and insights. It recognizes the stakeholders such as students, teachers, parents, administrators, and community members have valuable knowledge and experiences that can contribute to the evaluation of a curriculum. So Robert Stake in 1975 recommends the following steps to the curriculum evaluator. First is meets with stakeholders to identify their perspectives and intentions regarding curriculum evaluation. Second is draws from step 1 documents to determine the scope of the evaluation. Third is observes the curriculum closely to identify the unintended sense of implementation and any deviations from announced intents. Fourth is identifies the stated real purposes of the program and various audiences. Step 5 is identifies the problems of the curriculum evaluation at hand and identifies an evaluation design with needed data. Step 6 is selects the means needed to collect data or information. Step 7 is implements the data collection procedure. Step 8 is organizes the information into themes. Step 9 decides with stakeholders the most appropriate formats for the report. Overall, a stake-responsive model in curriculum evaluation promotes collaboration, shared decision-making, and continuous improvement. By valuing the perspective of stakeholders, it creates a more holistic and responsive approach to evaluating the effectiveness of a curriculum. Scriven's Consumer-Oriented Evaluation, or COE. Michael Scriven in 1967 introduced this evaluation among many others when education products flooded the market. Consumers of educational products which are needed to support an implemented curriculum often use consumer-oriented evaluation. These products are used in schools which require a purchasing decision. These products include textbooks, modules, educational technology like softwares, and other instructional materials. Scriven's Consumer-Oriented Evaluation, or COE, is an approach to a curriculum evaluation that emphasizes the needs, preferences, and satisfaction of the stakeholders or consumers of the curriculum. Developed by Michael Scriven, COE focuses on gathering and utilizing feedback from various stakeholders such as students, parents, teachers, and administrators to assess the effectiveness of a curriculum. So these are the Scriven Consumer-Oriented Evaluation in 1967. First is content covers a significant portion of course competencies. Second is contents are up to date. Third is reading level is appropriate for most students who will use the material. Fourth is intended learning outcomes, competencies are stated. Fifth is formative and summative assessments are included. Sixth is activities are varied to meet the needs of the students. Seven is teacher's guide is included with the management suggestions. 8 is materials are presented in logical order. 9 is learning outcomes, competencies, and or task. 10 is degree of match between learning activities and intended learning outcomes. 11 is quality of test items and degree of match with intended learning outcomes. 12 is quality of direction on how students will process through the materials. 13 is quality of drawings, photographs, and or other materials. 14 overall design of the learning activities for individual instruction. 15 is quality of management procedures for teachers. 16 is optional list course map competencies covered by the instructional material. So the primary goal of COE is to ensure that the curriculum meets the needs and expectations of its intended users. By actively involving the stakeholders in the evaluation process, COE aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of their perspectives, preferences, and experiences with the curriculum. And that's all my report. I hope you have learned something.
A simple way of curriculum evaluation process. For a very simple and practical way of curriculum evaluation, responding to the following questions will provide an evaluation data for curriculum process. These are the following questions. Does the curriculum emphasize learning outcomes? Does the implemented curriculum require less demands? Can this curriculum be applied to any particular level? Can the curriculum aspect be assessed as a written, taught, supported, tested, and learned? Does the curriculum include formative assessment? Does the curriculum include summative assessment? Does the curriculum provide quantitative methods of assessment? Does curriculum provide qualitative methods of assessment? Can the curriculum provide the data needed for decision making? Are the findings of evaluation available to stakeholders? There are 8 steps in conducting a curriculum evaluation. First, identify primary audiences and what to consider. Curriculum program sponsors, managers and administrators, school heads, participants like teachers and students, content specialists, and other stakeholders. The second step, identify critical issues or problems, and these are outcomes, expected outcomes, desired outcomes, intended outcomes, process in which how you implement, resources or inputs. The third step is to identify data sources. And what to consider are people like teachers, students, parents, curriculum developers, existing documents, available records, and evaluation studies. The fourth step is to identify techniques for collecting data like standardized tests, informal tests, samples of students' work, interviews, participant observations, checklists, anecdotal records. Next is to identify established standards criteria. These are standards previously set by agency like DepEd, CHED, professional organization. Sixth step, identify techniques and data analysis like content analysis, process analysis, statistics comparison, evaluation process. The seventh steps is preparing evaluation report, and these evaluation reports are written, oral, progress, final, summary, descriptive, graphic, evaluative, and judgmental, list of recommendation. And lastly, preparing modes of display like case studies, test scores, summary, testimonies, multimedia representation, product display or exhibits, technical reports. In summary, any evaluation models can be used. ASCD 1983 suggests the following steps in conducting a curriculum evaluation.
Good day everyone, this is Eileen Grace Neri Balayog from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics. This time, I will discuss about the curriculum evaluation through the learning assessment. We have gone a long way in understanding, interpreting, and applying the concept of the curriculum development. We will continue to understand that curriculum can be evaluated right in the teacher's classroom. Finding out if the plan, written, implemented curriculum are functioning as intended in the assessment of learning is a very crucial. The question is, how does a teacher know that the student have learned from what has been taught? The teachers cannot claim if he or she has taught if the student have not learned anything from the discussion. In this lesson, we will find out that assessment of learning is an evaluation process that deals whether the intended learning outcomes through the teaching learning process have been converted into achieved learning outcomes. So we have here a chart. This chart is the Philippine educational system. The Philippine educational system has a 4 level. The key, the elementary, high school, and the tertiary. Key stand for the kindergarten. Kindergarten is just a 1 year. The student or the child should undergo a 1 year in kindergarten before he or she can proceed in the second level, which is the elementary level. In elementary level, the student undergo another year, 6 years to finish the elementary level before she or he can proceed in secondary level, which is our third level. The secondary level, it was divided into 2, a junior high school and a senior high school. In junior high school, the student or the child should finish 4 years in junior high school and another 2 years in senior high school. After the student could finish at the secondary level, they have a TESDA specialization in NC1 and in NC2 and also in arts and sports. The last level is the tertiary level, which is a college level. After they complete this level, they can have a technical education and skills development if they pursue the TESDA. If they will continue to college, they can have the baccalaureate degree, post-baccalaureate degree, postdoctoral and specialization and doctoral degree. We will proceed into the first content focus in this lesson. the PQF or the Philippine Qualification Framework. The PQF is a reference system of a national standard of what qualification one has earned by education and training in the Philippines. It specifies what is the individual has learned in and out of the formal schooling. It is a lifelong learning. Based on the qualification, levels and degrees of competence and knowledge, skills, application, values, and degree of independence, a person is deemed qualified if he or she achieve any specific learning outcomes necessary for the academic, work, and community requirements for which an official qualification recognition shall be conferred. This is according to the Republic Act 10968, Series of 2018. And this is another slide. It is, we can see here a diagram. So this diagram, it is the Philippine Qualification Framework or PQF. It tells the level from basic education to higher education in the Philippine educational system. The Philippine Qualification Framework describes the level of educational qualification and sets the standard for qualification outcomes. It is a quality assured, the national system of development recognition and award of a qualification based on the standard of knowledge, skills, and values acquired in different ways of methods by learners and workers of the country. The PQF has divided into 8 levels, from level 1 to level 8. The first level is to be achieved by the grade 12 student or the grade 12 graduate, where it can be awarded by the national certification, which is the NC1 and the NC2. If qualified by the TESDA, knows that level 2 is the NC2, the level 3 is the NC3, the level 4 is the NC4. While in the level 5 it is certified by the TESDA or CHED in their respective programs. Other students, after graduating from high school or from senior high school, they are not able to proceed in the college level and the college degree. They prefer to work immediately. So they enroll in TESDA rather than the 4 years college program. The other levels of qualifications progress along the educational ladder in the Philippine educational system from grade 12 in basic education to higher education, from baccalaureate to doctoral and the postdoctoral degree. In the 8th level, the individual is expected to achieve a specific standard and competence are clustered in the domains, which are first, knowledge, skills, and values; second, the application; third, degree of independence in responsibility. So, in this slide, we can see a table. This table contains the levels and competencies descriptors required for each level for basic and higher education level. So, as I said earlier, we have 3 domains. First, knowledge, skills, and values. Second, application. Third, degree of independence and responsibility. So, first we will talk about the knowledge, skills, values. In grade 12, the student should possess functional knowledge across a range of learning areas and the technical skills in choosing career tracks with advanced competences in communication, scientific, critical, and creative thinking, and use of technologies. Second, understanding of right or wrong, one's history and cultural heritage, deep respect of self and others. So before they can proceed into baccalaureate degree, they should possess those descriptors. In baccalaureate degrees, they should possess broad and coherent knowledge in the field of discipline or profession. In the master's degree, they should possess broad and deep knowledge in the field of discipline or profession. Lastly, in the doctoral and the postdoctoral degree, they should generate new knowledge, skills with established values in the discipline or professions. In continue, the second domain is the application. In grade 12, the student should apply functional knowledge, technical skills, and values in academic and real-life situation through sound reasoning, informed decision-making, and judicious use of resources. In baccalaureate degree, they should apply knowledge, skills, and values in the professional work. In the master's degree, they should apply deep knowledge, skills, and values in the professional work and research. In the doctoral and the postdoctoral degree, they should apply professional work and research as a leader or initiator. And last domain is the degree of independence in responsibility. In grade 12, they should apply skills in varied situations with minimal supervision. In baccalaureate degree, work independently, alone, or in a teams. In the master's degree, work independently. In doctoral and the postdoctoral degree, they should highly independent in work, initiate and lead and initiate others. Proceed to our next content focus. It is a matching the competence and the outcomes with the PQF or the Philippine Qualification Framework by doing a learning assessment. The mastery of a learning outcomes in terms of knowledge, process, understanding, performance are measured in formal education starting with a basic education. The measurement is often referred to as assessment. In 2012, DepEd or the Department of Education issues a Department Order Number 73, which is the K-12 grading system. It was known as the KPUP or the KPUP grading system, which stands for K as a knowledge, P as a process, U as understanding, and P as a performance. If we can recall during our high school level or even now, when we check, after we check our paper, after the exam, we can notice that each of the tests has its own classification based on the type of test. So, for the further understanding, we will look at the table for us to understand further about the KPUP or the alignment of the KPUP. So in this table, we have here a learning level, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, the description of the learning outcomes, the knowledge, the process, the understanding, and the product or the performance. And another column, we have here the sample guide question. So first, we will talk about the level 1. Level 1 is the knowledge. Knowledge, it is a factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and the metacognition. So we have here a sample guide questions when we face knowledge questions. What do you want your students to know in terms of facts, concepts, procedure, and a multiple thinking? The second level is a process. The process is the skills the students use based on the facts and information for making meaning and understanding. The sample guide question is, what do you want your students to do with what they know? So the example of it is this: dissect a frog and identify the different major body parts. The level 3 is the understanding. It is a making meaning to a big ideas and the concepts. So the sample question is, what do you want students to understand? So what do you want your students to understand? The last level, the level 4, the product or the performance. The product is the materials or performance, the overall, the visual or the written or project or evidence of the learning that they learn through the process of your discussion or through the process of the semester or the grading period. The sample question is, does your portfolio display evidence to show learning outcomes achieved? The second is, can you create a one-pack play to show the principle of dramatizations? Third is, what a research paper can you undergo to report on the conversion of indigenous plants?
Good day everyone. Today I would like to discuss assessment tools that can be used to measure different levels of learning outcomes, especially knowledge, process, and understanding or KPU. These learning outcomes are essential for students to demonstrate their acquired knowledge and the ability to derive multiple meanings from it. By using appropriate assessment tools, educators can effectively evaluate students' progress in achieving these learning outcomes. Let's delve into the type of tests that can be employed for this purpose. Objective tests. Objective tests are assessments that have only one correct answer. They are challenging for teachers to create because they need to design questions that have precise answers. However, from a student perspective, objective tests are relatively straightforward to handle because there is a clear right answer for each question. It's important to study and understand the material to choose the correct option. One specific type of objective test is the pencil and paper test. This test is called so because it involves writing answers on paper using a pencil. In the traditional approach, the teacher provides a test booklet and we as students use a pencil to mark our responses. However, with advancement in technology, paper and pencil tests can also be conducted in electronic form. Instead of using a physical test booklet, we can now take the test on a computer or other electronic devices, which eliminates the needs of our paper. These electronic versions of the test is referred to as a paperless test. Simple recall tests are commonly used to measure knowledge. They come in various forms, including fill in the blanks, enumeration, identification, and simple recall itself. First is fill in the blanks. Students are required to complete sentences or passages by filling in the missing information. Next is enumeration. Students need to list items or elements related to the given topic. The next is the identification. Students must correctly identify specific objects, concepts, or terms. And the last one is simple recall. This form assists students' ability to recall information without extensive analysis or interpretation. Alternative response test. The alternative response test is another type of pencil and paper assessment, where students are provided with two options or choices. These options can be presented in the form of questions or statements, with examples including true or false and yes or no questions. True or false examples: the Philippine population has reached 1 million. Yes or no example: has the Philippine population reached 1 million? Multiple choice test. Consider the most versatile test type. Multiple choice tests can measure a wide range of learning outcomes. Each item consists of a problem or question, known as the STEM, and a list of suggested solutions, known as alternatives, options, or choices. Typically, should be 3 to 5 options per item. The correct alternative is called the answer, while the remaining options are referred to as distractors or decoys. Some multiple choice items may include stimulus material to provide context or additional information. Correct answer type. Only one alternative is the correct answer, while the others are clearly incorrect. These questions can be framed as direct questions or sentence com- completions. Best answer type. All alternatives are correct, but one is considered the best or most appropriate choice. Examples. Direct question. What is not a member of ASEAN 2015 Economic Community? A. Vietnam. B. Korea. C. Malaysia. D. Philippines. Incomplete sentence. A country in Southeast Asia which is not a member of the ASEAN 2015 Economic Community is A. Vietnam, B. Korea, C. Malaysia, and D. Philippines. Best answer type. All the alternatives are correct but only one is the best. Direct question. What do progressive educators consider as the most important factor in the teaching learning process? A. Teacher. B. Learner. C. Books. D. Principal. Incomplete sentence. According to progressive educators, the most important factor in the teaching learning process is A. Teacher. B. Learner. C. Books. And D. Principal. Some of the relationships that can be matched are found in the matrix below. Persons, achievements, dates, historical events, terms, definitions, principles, illustrations, parts, functions, machines, uses, diseases, causes. Perfect matching type. The number of premises in column A is less than the number of responses in column B. The response can only be used once. Example, in column A are popular descriptions of presidents during the term of office. Match then with the names of Philippine presidents in column B. Column A, premises. First, Ramon Magsaysay. Second, Carlos P. Garcia. Third, Corazon Aquino. Column B, responses. A. Man of the masses. B. People power president. And C. Filipino first policy. And D. Champions of first land reform law. Imperfect matching type. The number of premises in column A is not equal to the number of the responses in column B, or the other way around. The response or the premise can be used more than one. Example, in column A are names of well-known curriculum. Evaluators match them with the evaluation models. They have been identified within column B. You can use the letter once or more than once. Column A premise. First, consumer-oriented model. responsive model, CIIP model, goal-free model, and the last is P delta kappa model. Column B, responses. A. Michael Scriven, B. Daniel Staplebeam, and C. Robert Stake, and D. Ralph Tyler. Subjective taste is an assessment method used to evaluate a learner's ability to generate and communicate their own ideas. This type of test is challenging to assess through objective questions that have right or wrong answers. Instead of subjective tests, allow students to provide answers based on their reflections, insights, and opinions, typically in the form of essays or open-ended responses. An AC test is a type of assessment that allows students the freedom to respond to a given question or prompt in their own words. Unlike other types of tests, such as multiple choice or true or false, where students select a predefined answer, AC test items enable students to select, relate, and present ideas based on their understanding on the subject matter. The responses in an AC test reflect the depth and breadth of the student's knowledge of the topic. They also demonstrate the student's ability to employ higher order thinking skills, such as critical thinking, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation by using their own words. Students can express their ideas in a way that is accurate, creative, and appropriate to the context. The restricted response format allows the instructor to specify the parameters of the response, providing clear guidelines for the student. This format is beneficial when the assessment focuses on specific skills or knowledge within a narrow domain by placing restrictions on the response. Instructors can assist the student's ability to apply their understanding to a particular situation or problem. Examples. What are the main body parts of plant? Describe each part. Second example, why is the barometer one of the most useful instruments to forecast the weather? Explain in one paragraph. An extended response item is a type of assessment that allows students a greater degree of freedom in selecting factual information to support their response. Unlike restricted response items or short answer questions, where the content is more limited, extended response items provide students with the opportunity to delve deeper into the subject matter and demonstrate higher order thinking skills. Examples. First, evaluate the significance of the result of national referendum of Scotland to the global peace condition. Second, what can you say about NATO's position on the ISIS? Third, comment on the term new normal that refers to the environmental condition and climate change. Types of AC that measures complex learning outcomes. Type of AC test items. Example of complex learning outcomes that can be measured. Restricted response AC items. Ability to first explain cause and effects relationships. Describe application of principles. Formulate valid conclusion. Enumerate and explain. Explain methods and procedure. Extended response AC items. Ability to organize ideas, integrate learning, design and experiment, evaluate the worth of ideas.
Types of essay that measures complex learning outcomes. So these are the two types of essay test item, the restricted response essay items and extended response essay items. The restricted response essay items, it measures the ability to explain cause and effect relationships, describe application of principles, formulate valid conclusion, enumerate and explain methods and procedure. While extended response essay items measures the ability to organize ideas, integrate learning, design and experiment, and evaluate the worth of ideas. Now, let's go on to another topic, the performance assessment tools. There are three kinds of performance assessment tools, and these are the checklist, rating scale, and rubrics for portfolio. So, what is checklist? Checklist is a tool that consists of a list of qualities that are expected to be observed as present or absent. The presence is to be marked as check and the absence is to be marked as X. Next is rating scale. Rating scale is a tool that uses a scale in a number line as a basis to estimate the numerical value of a performance or a product. The value is easier to score if the points are in whole number. And last is rubric for a portfolio. A portfolio is a compilation of the experiences as authentic learning, outcomes presented with evidence and reflection. It is to assess the total learning experiences as presented in a holistic package on assessment tool called a rubric is utilized.
Hello, now let us talk about the levels of assessment for the levels of learning outcomes. Levels of assessment describes the learning outcomes. The first one is knowledge, second, process or skills, third, understanding, fourth, products or performance. The levels of learning outcomes are also used to describe the levels of assessment through the DepEd Order 73 series of 2012, levels of learning outcomes are also the levels of assessment. In other words, the level of assessment follow also the levels of thinking skills from lower level to higher level. We have here the table. The first column is about the levels of learning outcomes or assessment. Second column is about what to test or assess. Third, type of assessment. Fourth, the value in assessment. The first row is about the level 1 or knowledge. Level 1, so knowledge, what to test in this level. You're testing you're testing your student or learner about the question who, what, when, how, and why. The type of assessment of this level is a paper and pencil type of test, and it could also be a non-paper and pencil test. And then the percentage value in this assessment is only 15%. The second level is the process skills. You are testing or you're assessing your learner about a constructed meaning from knowledge. The type of assessment, this is a paper and pencil test or non-paper and pencil test, and the percentage of value in this assessment is 25%. The third level is understanding. You're testing your learners or you're assessing your learners on about the explanations, interpretations, applications, empathy, perspective, and self-knowledge, big ideas, principles, and generalization. The type of assessment in this level is a paper and pencil type of test. And then the percentage value in this assessment is 30%. Now, let's move on to placing value to assessment results from KPUP or KPOP, DepEd Order number 73, 2012, to written work, performance task, quarterly exam, or also known as WW-PT-QE Ed Order number 8 series of 2015. Well, the KPOP is still utilized in grading system, but it is modified. It is modified into written work or WW, PT or the performance task, and QE the quarterly examination. Okay, so the summative assessment is composed of written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So below, we have here the components, the table about the components of summative assessment. The first component is about written work, and we have here in the second column the purposes, the third column when given. Okay, components about the written work. The purpose of this component of this written work is to assess learners' understanding of concepts and application of skills in written form. Second is to prepare learners for quarterly assessment and when to give this type of assessment. So you're giving this at the end of the topic or unit. So when you're done discussing a certain topic, you're going to give them written quiz and just like that. Okay, the second component is performance task or PT. The purposes first involve students in learning process individually or in collaboration with teammates over a period of time. Second, give students opportunities to demonstrate and integrate their knowledge, understanding, and skills about topics or lessons learned in a specific real-life situation by performing and or producing evidence of their learning. Third, give students the freedom to express their learning in appropriate and diverse ways. Fourth, encourage student inquiry, integration of knowledge, understanding, and skills in various contexts beyond the assessment period. So when to give this type of assessment. So you're going to give this at the end of the lesson, focusing on the topic or skill lesson. So you're assessing the psychomotor domain in this type of assessment, the psychomotor domain. And in the written work, you're assessing the cognitive domain of your student. The third component is the quarterly assessment. The purpose of this is to synthesize all the learning skills, concepts, and values learned in an entire quarter. So, ang purpose nito ay upang mataya, so matest kung how much or how far the students have learned from within that period. So, when to give this type of assessment. So, this is given once at the end of the quarter. So, ito yung examination. Next is grades at the end of the school year and how these are computed. So, the first one is for the kindergarten. In kindergarten, you are using checklist, anecdotal records, and portfolios to substitute numerical grades which are based on kindergarten curriculum guide. And for grade 1 to grade 10 or grade junior high school, the first basis for the computing of their grades, the first one is the average of the quarter grades produced the end of the year grade, and the second is the general average is computed by dividing the sum of all final grades by the total numbers of learning areas. Each learning area has equal weight. And we have here the table. So for the components, the written work, performance task, the quarterly assessment, and for the languages, AP and ESP, we have 30% for the written work, 50% for the performance task, 20% for quarterly assessment, and for science and math, 40% for written work, 40% for performance task, 20% for the quarterly assessment, and for MAPI, EPP or TLE, 20% for the written work, 60% for the performance task, and 20% for the quarterly assessment. Grade 11 and for grade 12 senior high school, so their grades are computed in this following way. The first one is the average of the quarterly grade produces the semester grade. Second is the general average is computed by dividing the sum of all semestral final grades by the total number of learning areas. The third is the senior high school grading components. So we have here the grading components. The grading components, we have the written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. And the percentage is different from each other according to the track. For the academic track and the core subject, we have 25% for the written work, 50% for the performance task, quarterly assessment is 25%. And under the academic track, all other subject is 25% for written work, 45% for performance task, and 30% for quarterly assessment. And for the work immersion or research, 35% for written work, 40% for the performance task, 25% for quarterly assessment. And for the technical, vocational, TVL, sports, arts, and design students, so their grades are computed in this following way using this following percentage. For all other subjects, 20% for written work, 60% for performance task, 20% for quarterly assessment, and for work immersion and research, 20% for the written work, 60% performance task, and 20% for the quarterly assessment. And now let's go to the reporting summative grades by quarter or semester or end of the year. We have here the interpretation of the numerical values for all subject areas is based on the minimum initial grade of 60, and this minimum grade of 60 is transmuted into an equivalent of 75 in the report card. The numerical grades are described in the different levels of proficiency and the different competencies set in the subject areas. We have here the table. We have two columns. The first column is the level of proficiency descriptors. Second is the grading skills based on transmuted values. So you are a student is rated as advanced if he or she has the percentage of 90 if she or he garnered 90% and above, or a learner, or next is the learner is labeled as proficient if she or he has 85 or she or he reach 85% to 89%, approaching proficiency for 80% to 84%, developing for 75% to 79%, and beginning for below up to 74%. So, do you have any questions about how to compute the grades for the junior high school, senior high school, and for their summative grades or reporting their summative grades? So I guess there's no question. So thank you for listening.
In our previous discussion, we talked about curriculum evaluation through learning assessment. In this lesson, we're going to tackle about planning, implementing, and evaluating the curriculum and understanding the connections of these three. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to explain the connection of planning to implementing in curriculum development. Expound the connection of implementing to evaluating in curriculum development. Elaborate the connection of evaluating to planning in curriculum development, and describe the connections between planning, implementing, and evaluating in the curriculum process. According to some models presented by Hilda Taba and Ralph Tyler, curriculum development ends with evaluation. However, since curriculum development is a continuous process, it can also be viewed like a pie. PI stands for planning, implementing, and evaluating. PIE or PI is a cyclical process, which means that after evaluating, the process of planning starts again. Planning, implementing, and assessing are three processes in curriculum development that are taken separately but are connected to each other. The cycle continues as each is embedded in a dynamic change that happens in curriculum development. Planning is an initial process in curriculum development. It includes determining the needs through an assessment. Needs would include those of the learners, the teachers, the community, and society as this relates to curriculum. After the needs have been identified, the intended outcomes are set. Intended outcomes should be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, with result, and within the frame of time. Intended outcomes should be doable, achievable, and desired. After establishing this, then a curricularist should find out in planning the ways of achieving the desired outcomes. These are ways and means, and the strategies are the identification of support materials. All of this should be written and should include the means of evaluation. An example of a curriculum plan is a lesson plan. It is a written document. Many planners would say a good plan is half of the work done. So, in curriculum development, a well-written plan ensures a successful implementation. The end product of planning is a written document. Some outputs of curriculum planning are lesson plans, unit plan, syllabus, course design, modules, books, instructional guides, or even a new science curriculum plan. After the curriculum is planned, it should be implemented. It has to be put into action or used by a curriculum implementer who is the teacher. Curriculum plans should not remain as a written document. Otherwise, it will become useless. A curriculum planner can also be a curriculum implementer. In fact, curriculum planner who implements the curriculum must have a full grasp of what is to be done. This is an important rule of the teacher. With a well-written curriculum plan, a teacher can execute this with help of instructional materials, equipment, resource materials, and enough time. The curriculum implementer must also see to it that the plan which serves as a guide is executed correctly. The skill and the ability of the teacher to impart and guide learning are necessary in the curriculum implementation. It is necessary that the end view or the intended outcomes will be achieved in the implementation. Curriculum evaluation comes after planning and implementation. It is very necessary to find out at this point if the planned or written curriculum was implemented successfully and if the desired learning outcomes were achieved. Curriculum evaluation as a big idea may follow evaluation models which can be used for programs and projects. These models discussed in our previous lesson guide the process and the corresponding tools that will be used to measure outcomes. When used for assessment of learning, which is also evaluation, more attention is given to levels of assessment for the levels of learning outcomes as defined by the Department of Education. The use of description for the proficiency of the learner is described by the qualified values of the weighted test scores in an interval scale. The key idea here being what has been planned should be implemented, and what has been implemented should be evaluated. Finally, we have the PIE or the PI cycle of curriculum development. This cyclical flow of the three processes in curriculum development is very easy to remember and follow. As a curricularist, These guiding ideas clarify our understanding that one cannot assess what was not taught, nor implement what was not planned. Planned, then implement, then evaluate, and the next cycle begins. To end this day lesson, let me leave you with this quote. The quality of a school's curriculum cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. Thank you for listening, everyone. Goodbye.